Okay, so set up. Right, welcome back for another episode of our No Suit Survival series. We've just completed the drone. I had to do some updates to it off camera because I realized that the thrust and batteries that it had were completely insufficient. So I've gone ahead and added 2 extra large batteries on the side here. And that should give it just barely enough power to run all of the additional thrusters that I had to add for it to even carry like a full cargo weight full of resources. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to take the mining drone out for a spin. I think I'm gonna grab up some nickel to start with, some nickel and some silicon, and then I'm just going to set it, do that manually. Some manual mining of nickel and silicon, and then I'm going to set it up to just dig basically a big square hole in the iron patch because I'm going to need a lot of that as I plan to find a new space to build my more permanent base. So I'm going to head up into the mountains somewhere on the little scout bike here, and I'm going to find a nice suitable location while that drone is mining out iron. So first of all, let's get into the base where it's nice and cozy. I've got cameras and stuff all over the drone so I can just pilot it from inside. Actually, one thing I have realized is space doesn't have an antenna. So to even be able to pilot the drone from a distance, I am going to need to add an antenna to the base, and I can just do that on this little small grid here because, as you can see, the large grid antenna is pretty gigantic, but I can just attach a small one here and that'll do effectively the same job. So I'm going to grab the parts for that and just attach that on the top of this. Maybe give it like a counterbalance on the piston. Just stick that on the edge of the piston. You can even get up on this here. I'm just going to use this scaffold over here. That's far easier. So let's just whack that on there. Weld that up. And we'll set this antenna's range to 5 kilometers. That should be sufficient. Then I can should be able to just go into the nice cozy comfort of my base here. Won't get attacked by any zombies in here, so let's hop into the remote control menu and we'll go to the mining drone. I've made a blueprint of it, so if it explodes we'll be okay. So we've got a front camera here and a downward camera here. So we're going to make sure the batteries are on, lights are on. We're going to undock, move out from the base. So I'm going to go for the silicon first. You know what? This drone actually needs an ore detector. Oh, it does have one. Excellent. I thought of that ahead of time. So let's head over to the silicon here. I'm just going to dig straight down onto it effectively. Hasn't got much forwards and backwards thrust, so it takes a while to speed up and slow down. This magnesium patch is actually huge. I can pan the camera here. Oh, there's nickel here as well. Nice. I can pan the camera here for the camera panning mod. I don't need rotors or hinges or anything like that to move them around. It's actually one of the mods I almost always have on. It's just so invaluable. Absolutely love it. So we're going to fly directly over this silicon patch here. Make sure I'm lined up with the horizon. Nice and level. And we'll check if we're over it on the downward camera. Here we go. This isn't exactly centralized, this camera on the bottom here, but it should give us a good enough idea. Now hopefully the lights that I've got on here have enough reach. They're all maxed out, so they should be able to illuminate down here and I should be able to see what I'm doing. Let's just dig down to the silicon. Make sure we're not right-click mining into it yet. the right-click mining is just a way of excavating without needing to pick up any resources, so I can just basically go straight down with it. And yeah, let's just now hit the silicon. So we'll go down a smidge more, and then start digging this. It looks like I'm on the far left edge of that patch. I might need to go over to the right a little bit. Just make sure. Okay, so drills are about half full, and the cargo is full. So we can go up. I have just barely enough power to do that. And we've tilted a little bit, so let's angle that. Now we're going to go down here so we get a better angle. So we'll go down about the same depth. And then we'll finish off that. That should be enough silicon for a very long time. The yield you get from silicon mining and nickel mining is actually quite good, so anything that requires that are... Well, the main use of nickel is in motors, and yeah, you get more than enough of that from mining them, and silicon is basically only used for computers and glass and screens, stuff like that. So this will be more than enough silicon, I reckon, for a very long time. So what I'll do is I'll go up. And we'll go back to the forward camera, and we'll return to the base. Now that we're here, I don't have a rear camera on this, so docking it would be interesting, but luckily we can just use the script to do that, so we'll have it set to fly back to its home position. Here, we'll just line it up a little bit better with the base so it doesn't crash into anything. Go, just fly into about here, slow down, and then we'll hit fly to home position, and it will dock back up for us. So we'll go back into person, we can see that realigning and connecting back in there. Lovely. That's what we want. Now the refinery is going to have plenty of stuff. This sorter I do need to add a whiteness to. So I'll do that from the inside, just so my power doesn't drain from standing out in the cold. And we'll make sure that our hydrogen engine is on and our O2H2 generator is on, so we should have quite a lot of ice in that. Well, actually no, we don't. We wouldn't, because we right-click drilled all the way down to the stone. So I might need to just do a bit of ice mining after that to see how much. Yeah, that's empty, so we don't actually have any hydrogen power going right now, so the refinery should actually... Oh, it's running off the battery, that makes sense. So that's got plenty of time left in it. Oh, that's actually a very close unknown signal. Go get that in a second. Oh, it's up in the hills. Base. So what I'm going to do here is set up the sorter to whitelist all ore. So that'll just pull everything out of the drone. There we go. And into the large cargo container that the sorter is attached to. There we go. Now that refinery will be busily chugging away on those resources for a very long time. And we'll just leave that running while we go scout out places. So next I need to grab some ice with the drone. Let's go over to this iron and nickel hole over here. And We'll just sit above this nickel here. Dig up some ice before going down, just so I've got plenty of fuel to go for my engine. And that should be about full. Yep. It really doesn't like to stay straight, does it? There we go. Set it to dock. We'll just see. That should, I believe ore also counts ice, so that should pull it straight out. There we go. And the cargo container should empty as well. Why is that not being pulled out by the sorter? Oh, there we go. It's just taking its time. Okay, that works perfectly fine. So now we have a whole bunch of ice. Has that already gone through all the stone? Wow, that went quickly. So we're quickly accumulating some resources here. Now all I need to do is get some nickel now. And go back over to this hole we just... So now that is charging up, I think. The drone batteries recharge in 10 minutes, so while that's charging up, I'm going to go pick up that unknown signal before it explodes, as they do when they expire. So let's disconnect this. And when I was mining last episode, I actually found that the underneath of the ice skate, well, it tipped over for starters, and I found that the underneath actually has a couple square blocks next to the rotors, which are perfect for timer blocks. So now I've used timer blocks to increase and decrease the friction. So that's the tutorial I learned from Black Armor, is that with a timer block, you can actually, when you're adjusting it, you're setting it up its actions, you can actually do it on multiple different pages of the same option, and then it will do those all at once when you hit it. So at the moment, the timer is doing 7 increments of increasing and decreasing the friction, so with just a couple taps I can put that all the way to the maximum or whatever. So now we have a much better way of controlling the friction on this. So I can get a little bit better control and steering if I need it, and I can just set it to be frictionless if we're going in a nice straight line. There we are. Now we'll return to the base. And then we'll set up the iron mining job, and then we can go and have a mosey around and see if we can find a cool place for our new base. Apologies if you all can hear any rain in the background, it is currently bucketing where I am. Nice and attached. Set it to charge. All good. Yeah, that battery was definitely going down. So let's have a look, see. It's depleting because it's currently charging a whole bunch of batteries and the engine isn't sufficient to power it all. I believe if I check the base batteries, outputting 12 megawatts and the engine's only inputting 5. Some of it's being diverted to the batteries and some of it's going to the little ships that are recharging. Change this to the base connector. I don't need to rename anything else. Although these wind turbines, I'll just clear that up. That's nice and neat. So maybe I'll actually, there is some space on the outside. Could put a second hydrogen engine on here. That's probably not a bad idea. just so that I can use the space in the future if I really wanted to charge up some vehicles or whatever if I come down to the ice fields here. Because I don't need this cargo conveyor spot anymore, I can just link up there. So what I'm going to do is just add a hydrogen engine here. Make sure it's the same color scheme as this one. I need to shift P. It's been a while since I've used the block painting tools. I'm so used to using this modded paint gun here. Let's get all the parts for that. Put them into production. And I have no problem making them now, with all the resources I have. There we are. I believe that one O2H2 generator can support this now. We shall see. I might need to add some extra hydrogen production. Let's have a look-see. We turn this on. We'll need to reset the base. I think, well, last time I did that I just put a block down, a new control block. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a control seat. See if placing that boots. Wow, that actually does work. Interesting. So it's actually not able to fill up both. So I will need an extra hydrogen generator. The best place, I could just add that to here, I suppose. Look a little bit incongruous. I don't. Oh, there is actually a conveyor port here, I believe. Just grind this down. It's the assembler's. Oh, it's the assembler's side, so there isn't actually a port here. So that's not gonna work. So I'll just attach it to here. I think I have it on my hotbar in a moment. So let's just get that. We'll get an O2H2 gem. Make that nice and icy. And we'll add it to the exterior here. Get all the parts for that in production. Seems like I only needed some computers. There we go, I've got some. Ah, there we are. So I'll produce all of this. Now that can produce the extra hydrogen that I need. So hopefully, so now O2H2, it's outputting 500 liters. This one is outputting 500 liters, and the engines both require 500. Okay. Oh, actually, they can take 300 kiloliters. So that I would actually need a whole bunch of O2H2 generators to run, to fill both, really. Be interesting to see how quickly that fills up when the batteries on these vehicles aren't recharging, but that should help to recharge everything a little bit faster. This is starting to look pretty abominable, so I do look forward to having a more permanent solution. So let's have a look-see at how this drone's batteries are going. Control. Can't take control of the grid. Why not? Because the drone batteries are on recharge. Let's do that. And go back. Still no remote control on the grid. Why not? Has that become damaged? The remote control was on the front, if I remember correctly. So So let's have a look here. The remote control appears to be fine. Yeah, it's not broken or anything. The antenna is here. That's also fine. So that's a good question why that can't work. Let's just hop down here. It is on. So I could, in theory, just disconnect it. Unless. Now it should. Yeah, now we can control it. There we go. So I am going to go and set it up to do a iron mining job. Now I do want to be in here in person so I can see the extent of the sensor, which will be telling me how wide this is going to be drilling. So I think the way that this iron seam is laid out in a bit of a line, so I don't want to drill like a big square, more like a line that's going across like here to here. So I don't want to dig up cobalt or anything just yet. I could do with some, but cobalt takes an age to refine, so I don't want to be picking up too much of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here, I'm going to right click mine in a line so I can see what I'm working with here. Let's go up a bit, down a bit more. The batteries are at 65%, so we're all good. You can tell that that's courtesy of the build info mod, which gives you a lot more information on the stuff on the grid. I find that to be very useful. Not straight level, let go, let's go forward a little bit. Down. So what can we see? There is the iron. So yeah, it's not. It seems to not be in a big square, although I'll check by right-click drilling out here. It is here as well. Go back a bit more. Okay, now we're starting to see the edges of it a little better. So what I could do is see if there's more iron over here as well, and then just set it up to do it in this little rectangle. Yeah, that's probably the best idea. And about there, should be able to see. No, that's still ice. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so there's iron over here as well. Okay. So what we need is to get my character over here. I'm just going to lay down this drone so it's not wasting too much power while hovering. And set it down on the ice over here. Can't tell if that's over or not. There we go. And then we'll get our character over here in the skate. I will need to set up a more appropriate path for the drone, otherwise it's just going to fly directly back to the connector, and that's not what we want because it'll crash into the ground on the way. Disconnect, put that on, skate on over. Okay. So now we are here. Should be in range of the antenna on the base, so it should still be able to control the drone. I don't think I can do it from the inside of another cockpit. I'm going to hop up on here so I'm nice and safe. If I can. What's the best way of getting on the back of this? Climbing up the edge here? Yeah, there we go, that's the best way. There we go, so drone, we want to fly that back to the base so then we can set up a proper job plan. There we go. We'll go up to record path and set home. Now undock. Now it is recording the path that it's going to fly on. Mine. Just make sure that we're not crashing into the ground or anything like that. There we are. So set it up to fly over the iron. Stasis, and then we go to stop path recording, and then we'll set up mining job. Need to make sure that the show sensor field range is on. So now that sensor field is the extent of the mining shaft that the drone would dig. So if I go back into my person here, I have a better view of what's going on. So what we want is for the drone to dig down from about this height, and then we want to reduce the width of it. So this one here. Actually, we want to do the opposite of that. We want to reduce the height. There we go. We'll go back up to width and increase that. So this is why this is useful to have a person here, because you can't really see very well. Now it's on the right one, so I'll just make sure. We've got width selected, so we just need to hit 5 a bit. There we go. So that's going to dig our shape here. So we do want to increase the height of that a bit, and the depth is about 20 or 25 meters, so we'll set it to 30 meters depth, and we'll increase the height offset and move the drone forward a little bit, and that should be the extents that we want. Drone, we want to go into the view, we want to increase the height a little bit, so we'll go down to that, increase that, depth 30 meters, that should be about right, and then we'll go forward just a little bit, and then set that to start new job. There we go, now that will be running autonomously. Here we go, it's got a full cargo load, so now it's going to return back to the home position. It should just be full of ice at this point. Yep, so we can see that going. So that should be all of the iron that we'll need for a while. Should be enough to build our base. It's starting here, and it looks like the iron does extend back that way a little bit. That should be just about perfect. It's probably going to pick up some stone on the way as it goes a bit. It'll probably go a bit deeper than the iron is, but we'll have to see in the long term. So while that's running, I can do some adventuring. And there's an unknown signal, so let's see if we can get to that before it expires in the next minute. We'll have to drive a little bit recklessly to get to that, I think. But we'll see if we can do it. Slow down our sideways movement. Just basically go in a straight line toward that. There we are. Turn our friction down to nothing and then increase up to ludicrous speeds. It's on the mountain. Might be a bit tricky. We'll see how we go. Need to start slowing down about now. A bit more, use the back wheels or the front wheels. Get some more. There we go. It's very useful having those options. It's actually able to stop in quite surprisingly quick, quite short distances really. Much shorter than any vehicle like this has a right to. And I think we'll be able to make that just about. No problem at all. Does control a little bit weirdly on these surfaces if you don't have the friction down set to 0, but if you do, you just sort of slide down the mountain, which isn't what we want. Let's see if we can ride up wheeling on the back wheels. Gives us a little bit better control. There we go. Oh, you're gonna make it? Oh, it's one of the roly-poly ones! Oh, we're not gonna get that. Oh, just barely missed it. What a shame. It just had to be the kind that rolls around like furiously. That's typical. We've actually got some magnesium and some nickel over here. I might mark that out. And some silicon. That's another really useful deposit. I'll mark this out in case we don't want to keep destroying the lake down below. Let's go into set GPS of magnesium, silicon, and nickel. Okay, turn that off, we don't need that. I think it would be a bit reckless to try going to the trade station on this bike, especially if it's going to nighttime. So what I might do is I might just set up the mine, but I'll leave the mining drone doing its thing and the refineries going for a little while, because it'll take a while to get through all that. As I do want to find a location during the day when I can see a bit better. I don't want to go looking around at places in the mountains at night. That doesn't sound like a very safe thing to do. That's another really good node as well. I'll mark this as well. So that's silicon, iron, nickel, and gold. It's basically everything you'd ever need. Must be bugging some people that I've got some of the periodic table labels of these, and then some of them are just their names. Oh, that's annoying me, so I might change that in the future. That's just a nice little shorthand. Has to turn that off. There we go. Lovely. The sun is setting, yeah, so we're going into nighttime. I think the best thing to do is just to leave the refineries running overnight, wait for the morning time, and then I can get back to looking around. Let's not drive straight into the hole that we dug over there. Slow down a little bit. We'll hook this back up to charge. No ghoulies out and about just yet. Let's have a look, see what is the refinery processing. So we need to have our large cargo container. We've got a whole bunch of ice, silicon, nickel. The refinery is still going through the silicon. Make sure it processes all the iron, or all the stone first. I think the way to do that is to change its position in the inventory here. And it should pull stone through, I believe. Yeah, so that's going to run stone through first. So, a bit of an early night, but I think we'll have a nice little sleep. I'll see you. Oh, I've got that same bug where I've got the. I'm holding the welder out even though there's nothing in my hand. That seems to have come with a new. In the warfare update, I didn't see that happening before. There we go. So we'll just leave that to run. And I'll see you in the morning. So it's the middle of the night still, but I've actually found that the drone is picking up way more materials than I anticipated. Going to the cargo, you see that this large cargo container is almost half full already, and the drone's only really done maybe 4 or 5 trips. It's going to take the refinery a very long time to get through all of this, especially this nickel. That will take ages to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set the drone to stop mining when it gets back and then just leave the refinery running. Get through all of that. I might actually... what I'll do is I'll dig a hole down through this plate here, go underneath the refinery and add a couple speed modules, or just add 4 speed modules to it. So let's just do that right now while the drone is on its way. Yeah, so the drone is on its way back in now, so I'm just going to grab control of it, go to the camera, so when it's docked I'll tell it to stop because it's going to be very, very full of resources, as we can see, even more nickel, and that stone should be quite a lot. Ready to dock. It's unloading. So it is locked, so we're going to stop it there. So we'll set it to continue job when we want to. But for the time being, I'm just going to leave that how it is. And instead I'm going to dig down under here. Now, to make sure I can get out of here, I need to have a ladder in my inventory. Oh, enemy detected. It's a good thing I set up those sensors. We've got another zombie swarm coming in. I realized I was getting low on, oh god, auto-fire bullets, so I've switched over to a precision rifle. Oh, Jesus! I don't think the precision rifle is very effective against these. Definitely gonna need to make some more rapid fire ammo. This is just gonna go through clips like crazy. Oh, it's a good thing I put sensors on that. What the hell happened over there? I got zombies attacking my survival kit. That would be less than ideal. How you doing over here, fellas? Jeez. They're getting aggressive. It's dangerous. Let's just clear the perimeter, make sure we haven't got any more. I get struck by lightning or something, perhaps? what I could do is, while I'm underground here, I do have the silver. I might just add a survival kit on the underside of that assembler. I think that'll probably be the best idea. So just give me a quick sec, and I'll pick out everything I need. So we need a ladder, a survival kit, and a few speed modules. So let's queue them up. So ladder, field planner, survival kit, and 4 speed modules. Set them to produce. Let's see if I have enough ladder. Yeah, so that's done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down below the ice. I can still jump up to that. So it will come over to underneath the survival kit, or underneath this assembler. So I can add a nice safe survival kit down there, and then go under the refinery. Which is about here. And we'll add our speed modules. I don't want to disturb the ground too much, as I don't really want to see that on the outside. I don't want to make a hole to the surface. I very nearly did there. Smidge more this way. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we should be able to place all of the speed modules now. And the survival kit. So let's just go here. Survival kit. Place that like this. The speed modules should be placeable like that. And then one there, and then another one, so I need to go down here a little bit more. So I should be able to place them all now. Yeah. Like that. And then I need access to that one, so we'll just grind that and make sure we've got everything we need. Grabbing out medical components, so that's safely constructed, so now I'll have a nice safe spot to respawn if I die, and if that survival kit gets destroyed, the one that's outside. So it should be able to produce these speed modules now. And it's going to make the refinery consume more power, significantly more power, but we should be okay. Okay, so now those speed modules are installed, we'll check how much of the refinery is drawing power-wise. 2.8 megawatts. Well, that's still runnable off of the hydrogen engines, no problem. I just need to make sure that I have enough ice to keep that running, so yeah, while the refinery is running, I'll just make sure that we've got enough ice, so I can use the mining drone for that. But I think we'll call it there for this week. Here's that this assertive bulldog is going to leave me in peace. It's just sort of going overhead. shouldn't get too close. Yeah, we should be right. So I'll get rid of this, replace the... I really wish there was a block that had a ladder in it so I could make this more airtight, but as it is, I'm just going to grind this off and then put an armor block back here. Oh, actually, I need to put a interior wall block, don't I? There's my interior block. That's what we need. So the survival kit is underground, but we should be able to find our way out, even in the event that I die and end up spawning back underneath there. Actually, one idea is, if I want to line myself up, I could use that GPS marker and just dig a hole through here. Make sure I'm going low, so I don't cross through the surface, but this will give me an underground tunnel to escape from. Just make sure I'm at the stone level. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That's perfect. We've come up underneath the refinery and the survival kit. So now in the event that I die, I'll spawn back in here and I can just walk out of this tunnel back onto the surface. And I don't have to sacrifice the looks of the ground to do it. So that's that for this episode. Thank you anyone for watching, and I'll see you next week.